Peers is another specific other perspective. And we call it again specific other because your peers are the people around you. They're your friends, your coworkers, your classmates, the people you grew up with. And it's very specific people that influenced you in very specific ways. One of the things that our friends do for us is they help provide reflective appraisals. You might have heard of the theory before in psychology class, looking glass self. The idea behind this is I come to see myself based on how other people treat me. So if you treat me like I'm stupid long enough, I'm going to start to think of myself as stupid. If you treat me like I'm smart, I'll think of myself as smart. If I'm always the kid that's the first chosen for the athletics team, then I'm bigger and faster than everybody else and praised for that. I'm going to come to see those attributes as being important, and that's the type of person I am. I'm an athlete. So that's looking glass self. Now, peers, the thing I would say about them, when you're young, your family is who you're turning to for that self-definition. But about the time you hit early adolescence, you really start looking more towards your friend and the people around you to see what's acceptable to them and how they're acting. And that's when you start looking more at their opinions to shape the person that you are. You also learn from your friends' social norms, what's acceptable behavior and what's unacceptable behavior. You learn that in some crowds you can get away with one thing, and in another crowd that's unacceptable and inappropriate. And we're learning that all throughout life, but especially during adolescence, it's an easy lesson to pick up. Second thing that our peers do for us is they provide social comparisons. There's all kinds of different groups in a high school. Think about the high school you went to. You probably had your gangsters, you had your goths, you had your athletes, your jocks, your cheerleaders, your band members. You had all of these different groups. And so kids go around and try to figure out which group am I most likely to fit in with? Which group is most like me? And you put yourself in groups based on how alike or different you think you are to those other people. Another thing that we do is we measure ourselves along a continuum. And I'll talk about continuums in other parts of this class. But a continuum, it's a scale. Where do I measure up along this scale? So let's say I have my jocks. And then I have on my other end my not so athletic people. So where do I fall along this scale? I'm a pretty good athlete. I'm okay. I'm not usually the first one picked for the team, but I'm not the last either. So I'm going to put myself kind of in the middle of this scale. Now, admittedly, you're not going around doing this very consciously. At least most of us aren't. But in the back of your head, as you figure out where you fit in and how you should act, this is the process that's going on. How do I compare to the people around me, and where do I fit in the best? The third group that we're going to talk about is society and self. Society is the first one that's a generalized other perspective. In other words, there's not a specific person or group of people behind our beliefs like there are for our family or for our peer groups. Society is more the person on the street, how you interact with the rest of the world around you, media, churches, schools, social institutions, things like that. How do we feel like we fit in with those different groups? Just our general interactions with other people. How do I feel like I'm received on the street? Am I the girl that all the guys are falling all over and opening doors for and treating like I'm beautiful? Am I the one that I feel like is discriminated against on a regular basis and people aren't seeing me for what I am, but for the color of my skin? How do you feel like the world receives you in general? That's one thing that certainly can affect how you see yourself and your role in the world. Another thing are media and institutions. And again, when I talk about institutions, schools, churches, the media, TV, radio, magazines, you're doing this week with your discussion question, looking at magazines and the different ways that people are portrayed in magazines. And one of the things the media does is they provide a very homogeneous view of the world. All people should look a certain way. The representation of the types of people, of the races, of the body types, of personality types aren't necessarily very well represented. So, for example, African Americans are very underrepresented in the media. And then oftentimes the representations that are there are not accurate. You will see African American women with very Caucasian features, very Caucasian body shapes, straightened hair, that kind of thing, instead of what's more representative of, your body shape and your skin color and all of those other things. And it's true too for many races and women in particular, men in particular too. Um, you see that in front of you all the time and start to think that that's how you should be. That's how you should look. That's how you should act. And we need to stop and take a step back and realize that that's not representative really of the world. And would we really want a world that bland? So, anyway, that's what you're looking at in your discussion question this week. But I hope you take away from this, again, 3 groups that are affecting how you see yourself and how you become the person you are. Family, peers, and society. And do take a minute to watch that one particular video I pointed out to you under family. The web link is under web links of interest that'll connect you to the site where you can listen to that. And one of the things I'll close this out with, that brings up the issue of nature versus nurture. Are we the type of person we are because of our genetic composition, because of the way we're born? Or are we the type of person we are because of how we're raised and the environmental effects around us? And I think it's pretty fair to say that it's probably a mixture of both. Here we've obviously been talking about the environmental effects, the people and how they affect us, but you're born a certain way and you're born with certain traits and qualities that those people and those influences are either enhancing or suppressing. So just keep that in mind as we talk about this. Let me know if you have any questions, and thank you very much.